Hi friends, welcome to Our Family Cooks. Today we are going to be making two different muffins that are higher in their protein and made with cottage cheese. So I'm really excited. Both of these are going to be a pumpkin variation. One is a pumpkin cottage cheese muffin and then another is a banana pumpkin cottage cheese muffin with chocolate chips. So they are going to be so good, and let's get started. All right, so first up, we are gonna start with our wet ingredients. So we need a cup of pumpkin puree, and this is actually pumpkin puree that I pureed from our pumpkins this year, or last year, I guess, after Halloween. And I do have a video on my channel about how to process your own pumpkins. So if you guys go to lots of pumpkin patches and you spend all the money on these big pumpkins and then you bring them home and they just die, one great thing you can do is puree the pumpkin, and then you can eat that throughout the year and kind of save your money too, because then you don't have to buy a pumpkin puree from the store. Okay, so we need a cup of cottage cheese. Get a spoon, just do a spatula. And I will link that video below on how to puree and process your own pumpkins so you guys can easily check it out. And then 2 eggs. And I'm gonna crack my eggs into here first just to make sure they look okay, don't get any shells in the batter. All right, and then our next step, I'm gonna get my immersion blender out. And since the cottage cheese is chunky, we're gonna use the immersion blender to mix it all together to really break down those chunks of cottage cheese so then your muffins don't have chunks in them. And if you don't have an immersion blender, you can definitely use a regular blender if you have that instead. I do love the immersion blender because it's so easy to use, and then you're not getting your you're only getting one dish dirty versus your blender plus a bowl. So I love the KitchenAid one. That's what we have. I'll link it below in the description so you guys can check it out. But this one is so nice, and it has this guard on it so that it protects your bowls. Okay, and we'll finish out our wet ingredients before we add our dry. So we need a 1/3 cup of maple syrup, and this is going to be our sweetener for the muffins. I love the maple syrup flavor, adding that to anything pumpkin or fall, just because it adds that really nice, like a warm spice type taste to it with the maple syrup. So I love adding that instead of regular sugar. And then we need a 1/4 cup of melted butter, and so that is 1/2 of a stick. All right, and then we also need a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And I grabbed my 1/2 teaspoon, so that's why I did 2. Okay, our butter is melted. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in, and we'll give it just a quick stir just to get it all incorporated, and then we'll move on to our dry ingredients. So we need the typical items in our dry ingredients: flour, baking soda, salt, and I will get those out. Now that we've got all our dry ingredients out, we will go ahead and add them. And we need 1.5 cups of flour. And I got these glass storage jars last year for Christmas, and I absolutely love them. It's been a long time that I've been using them, and they are fantastic. I love that it has a wide mouth, so you're not spilling flour all over the place. They're glass, so you're not getting microplastics into all of your foods. Yeah, they're just great. I will actually, if you're in the market for them, I will link them below in the description, and along with the recipes, those will all be down there, so make sure to check those out. All right, this batter is looking really good, and it was a lot easier to stir than I was thinking it was gonna be, so I don't think I'll need to get my handheld mixer out. Ooh, I forgot to preheat my oven, so I'm gonna do that quick. Okay, so 350 is what we want our temperature to be at. And then while that is heating up, I'm gonna go ahead and put all my dry ingredients away and then get my muffin tins out. All right, so we've got our 2 muffin tins, and I'm gonna do, for these, I'm going to use paper liners. So instead of spraying my muffin tins, I'm gonna use the paper. And I recently just got these parchment paper muffin liners. I really like them. I like that they go with every season. It's not like you have Easter colors and then you have to have summer colors and you have to have fall colors. I mean, those are fun, but these are nice for just everyday use when you're making muffins. And I also got these on Amazon. Okay, so those fit really well in here. We will see how much. I feel like sometimes my muffins vary as to if I get a full 24 or if it's just a little less, depending on how full I fill them. I usually try to use a 1/3 cup measuring cup, so I'm gonna get that out just to help guess on like how much is going into one, so they can be pretty even. They don't have to be 100% even, but it's just kind of nice for the cooking temperature to make sure that they all get evenly baked on the inside. Okay, let's get these filled. All right, so that made right around 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 muffins. So I'd say, depending on how big you make them, you'll get between 16 to 18 muffins. And let me tell you, these smell fantastic with the cinnamon and the pumpkin pie spice and the pumpkin puree. Oh, I'm so excited for these. They smell so good. And our oven is done preheating, so we're gonna go ahead and just throw them in. And we'll set our timer for 20 minutes. And I'm gonna do a little bit of dishes here. All right, so I got some of our dishes cleaned so we can start making our pumpkin banana muffins while the just pumpkin spice muffins are in the oven. I originally was just going to do a regular banana bread muffin or regular banana bread loaf, but I only have 2 bananas instead of 3, which usually when you make banana bread, you need at least 3. So I was like, well, what else for like a moisture piece in our bread could I use? And I was like, well, I'm already using pumpkin, so let's use more pumpkin in these. So I'm excited to try these out. I haven't made pumpkin banana muffins before, but they sound really good. And I mean, why would they not taste delicious? So I'm excited to start these. All right, so again, we will start with our wet ingredients, kind of like the first one. So we need 1 cup of pumpkin puree, so just gonna use the rest of my pumpkin. 2 bananas, and you can have these be a lot more ripe, so that would be when there's even more brown. That enhances the sweetness level. The bananas, that's when it's lots of sugar and sweet in there. You don't have to. These are soft and they're getting to be ripe, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use them. And again, we need our cottage cheese. And this time I'm only going to do 3/4 cup of cottage cheese. Okay. And we'll add our eggs. And eggshells are really great if you have a garden and you want to compost. Eggshells add really good calcium to your garden soil. So we always put our eggshells in a bucket and then we add them to our garden, and that way our garden can be nice and nutrient rich. All right, so again, we are going to use our immersion blender to blend up our cottage cheese and pumpkin and all the stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of my wet ingredients. So we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla this time. And yes, I just eyeballed that. And a 1/3 cup of maple syrup again. And this time we actually need 6 tablespoons of melted butter. So half stick is only 4 tablespoons. And so I need to get a couple more tablespoons. All right, so I got my butter, add it to my bowl so we can melt it. And then also my butter dish is almost empty. So I'm just gonna use the 2 tablespoons out of here, and then we'll add another stick to my butter dish. All right, pop these in the microwave. Looks like we have about 3 minutes left on our not brownies. We're not making brownies today, we're making muffins, on our muffins. So we'll check those here in a couple minutes. I am gonna go ahead and clean up my area, put some of this stuff away, and then probably by the time I'm done with that, we will be ready to look at our muffins. Butter is nice and melted. Add that to our batter. And then again, we need flour, baking soda, salt, all the normal things for a bread, so I'm gonna get those out. And the banana pumpkin muffins, I am using a mixture of wheat flour and all-purpose flour. And there's our muffins. So let's go ahead and check those first before we finish this. Ooh, these look good. So I'm gonna use my toothpicks to just double check that the insides are fully cooked. That looks good. I will take these out. Since we need to use these muffin tins again for our banana pumpkin muffins, I'm gonna go ahead and take our muffins out and put them on cooling racks. Also, taking these out of the racks and having them on cooling racks helps them cool down faster, because otherwise they're still sitting in these hot pans. But I can tell you, these smell absolutely delicious, so I'm excited to try one. All right, let's finish up our banana muffins and then we will get them in the oven too. And again, both of the recipes for these muffins will be linked in the description below. So definitely make sure to check those out and then try these at home and comment what you guys thought. How did your family like them? What did you think of them? Yeah, I love to hear your feedback and all of your guys' thoughts and tips and tricks. Okay, so the last thing we need to do before we fill up our muffin tins is add the chocolate chips. And I always like the semi-sweet chocolate chips. I also love dark chocolate, but we don't have that. So if you prefer milk chocolate, you can add those too, but I always recommend semi-sweet or dark because those are my favorites. And honestly, kind of thinking about it now, I feel like white chocolate would be kind of good in here too. I don't know, maybe not. I've never had white chocolate in a muffin before, but I was just thinking of like white chocolate macadamia is really good. I bet white chocolate and banana would be kind of good. I don't know, try it out. If you guys try that, let me know how it tastes. All right, now we need to fill our muffin tins. And I would assume this batch will make around the same amount of muffins, but we shall see once we get all of them in here. Okay, so this batch actually made 22 cupcakes, or muffins. I keep calling them the wrong thing, goodness gracious. So last thing we need to do is just add some chocolate chips over the top so they look pretty when they come out. And I grew up putting food in 4-H, so every time I do, like, I add, you know, a couple chocolate chips on the top, or if I'm doing cookies and it's like, oh, you got M&Ms on the top, I always think of how they used to critique and be like, oh, well, these two chocolate chips aren't in line with each other on this cookie. And it was like, seriously? So then when you would do your, like, make your food to present to the fair, you'd be like, all right, I need all 3 of my chocolate chips to be lined up perfectly so these cookies match exactly the way the rest of them look. Just random fun fact and thought that just popped into my head. Were any of you guys also in 4-H growing up as a kid? That was, I think that's all countrywide, like all states have it, but I know some people have never heard of 4-H, so I'm curious if you guys were also 4-H kids or if you have no clue what I'm talking about. Okay, we'll add these to our oven. Okay, and I did another 20 minutes on those. So in the meantime, I'm gonna clean up, do all my dishes, and then we'll get to try them. All right, so our timer went off for our muffins. So let's check these out. Ooh, they smell good. I can immediately smell that banana, like a good banana bread. Oh, they look perfect. Not seeing any crumbs or any liquid, so we're gonna take these out. And we'll turn our oven off. All right, so again, I'm gonna put these on my cooling rack. And I love these large cooling racks because they fit a bunch of stuff. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and try one of our regular cottage cheese pumpkin muffins. So, looks so good. So there is looks like one little piece of the cottage cheese that I didn't fully get blended up, but that's totally fine. Oh yeah, these are really nice and soft. It's best to let them set even longer to fully cool down, but I wanted to try one and show you guys what it looks like. So once you let it set a little longer, it won't stick like this as much. It just does that when it hasn't fully set. So just FYI, but yeah, so delicious, very good. And I'm also gonna try one of these banana muffins. So again, these are nice and hot because I just took them out, so that's why they're sticking to the thing. But I want to get them, I want to try them. Definitely let them set a little longer. They're still pretty warm, but the flavor is phenomenal in these. Tastes like banana bread, but then you got the little hints of the pumpkin with the cinnamon. Very good. And chocolate chips. You can never go wrong with chocolate chips. Okay, hopefully I don't have any chocolate on my face, but if I do, oh well. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure, like I said, try these at home. The recipes will be linked below. And make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Thanks, y'all. Bye.